JasonTheWeen is always in disguise by golf cart. I clicked on it because I fuck with JasonTheWeen and I thought this thumbnail was probably one of the better thumbnails I've seen in a minute. So let's get right into it. Let's see what he's talking about.
JasonTheWeen isn't one person, at least not in the way you think. Everything Jason does plays into a bigger performance, a career built on turning himself into different characters online. Sometimes he's a cringy TikToker, others he's an IRL streamer or a musical artist. It feels like every few months he's onto an entirely new thing. And yet, every time he changes character, the crowd gets bigger. But what if I told you none of it happened by accident? The cringe, the characters, the constant reinventions, all of it was a part of a plan. In truth, it was never about the views or fame. Jason was chasing something else.
I gotta be successful quick so that he can live a happier life, and I've never told him that.
He racing against time. That's why he hit the gas pedal. I like the fact that the younger generation got access to like how to get real money on the internet, and it took like millennials and like, I'm a younger millennial, but he's like stupid young. Like I just wish that Twitch and everything was just as evolved and there was more information out for us to make more money on the internet. That's why if you're young right now and you're following JasonTheWeen, go ahead and pick up the camera. You're not. What are you gonna lose? I mean, obviously, if you say some inflammatory and flagrant, don't get on here and say some racist, stupid, sexist things. You know what I mean? Potentially like lose employment or like lose a scholarship or something like that. But like, make content though, even if it's just for you, like for you to look back on and have like an online journal. I think everybody should be making content. That's my opinion. And I think JasonTheWeen learned from, there were so many iterations of content creators and they were being more transparent about how much they were making. He was able to take advantage of it really young. Now he has the rest of his life to create generational wealth. And I love it, to be honest with you.
For JasonTheWeen, the American dream smelled a lot like acetone. It was the life his parents, immigrants from Vietnam, painstakingly built inside a small nail salon in Fort Worth, Texas. Jason spent plenty of afternoons there, doing homework on the counter with the buzz of nail drills in the background. He was a quiet kid, the kind that got straight A's, won spelling bees, and never really caused any trouble. From elementary school through high school, he mostly flew under the radar. But he couldn't ignore what he saw at home. His parents were older than everyone else's. They never took a day off, and every dollar they earned came from hunching over a manicure table. Somewhere along the way, he made himself a promise. Retire them. Get mom and dad out of that salon for good. The only problem was he was 15. No license, no job.
Is that JasonTheWeen? That wasn't Jason. What happened to his neck, man?
He made himself a promise. Retire them. Get mom and dad out of that.
Well, you was a fat neck little boy, huh, JasonTheWeen? Hey, man.
Salon for
we all have a humble beginning start. All right, let's get into it. Let me lock in. My bad, y'all. Let me lock in. I'm sorry.
Good. The only problem was he was 15. No license, no job, no way to make real money. Then 2019 rolled around, and a new kind of gold rush showed up on his phone. It started when a company called ByteDance bought this massive but relatively dead app called Musical.ly. They gutted it, rebranded it, and TikTok was released.
Never knew that TikTok was Musical.ly. Oh boy, I'm slow as shit. My fault, y'all. My fault.
The app as a whole worked differently than any other social platform. Videos are meant to be short, less than a minute in length. And instead of you, the user, choosing who to follow and what kind of content to see, the algorithm really chooses for you. Within a year of the release, TikTok hit the top of the download charts like a nuke. In the blink of an eye, you had kids like Charli D'Amelio, going from filming TikTok dances in her bedroom with 0 followers to just a few months later moving to LA, starring in Hulu shows, Super Bowl commercials, signing multi-million-dollar deals with Dunkin', Hollister, and Morphe Cosmetics. And Jason thought, well, why not me? But here's the thing, social media...
Why not me? More people should think like that.
Media algorithms feed on flair. They boost the stuff that grabs your attention, creates urgency, stirs FOMO. And honestly, Jason didn't have that kind of personality. There wasn't much about him that really created conversations. So what does he do? Well, he became someone else. Now, this kind of seems a lot more like an Internet 101 video than a JasonTheWeen documentary at this point. But pay attention because this all ties in here in a minute. You see, those cringy, over-the-top personalities online aren't anything new. Actually, it goes all the way back to 2009, to iCarly. Brett is really one of the OGs of this. It's this annoying, polarizing, eccentric character, which love it or hate it stops your scroll. For whatever reason, it makes people comment, share.
Never got into Fred. I'm not gonna lie. Like, every time his voice came on, I was like, cut this bullshit off.
And talk about it. And we've seen this same strategy a million times since Fred. From Neon to iShowSpeed, it's a tried and true way to rack up some views on social media. And Jason weaponized this, creating some of the most hard-to-watch nails on a chalkboard type videos. It didn't.
Its digital footprint is unreal. There was no shame early on.
It didn't really take too long before these TikToks were pulling in millions of views, and Jason was growing an actual audience. And with a few viral videos and a snowballing fan base came the sponsors.
Oh, I'm eating plant-based nuggets. You well?
For about a year or so, Jason kept up with this, creating cringy videos, trolling online, and for a while it was great. But then two problems hit. First, his TikTok accounts kept getting banned. No warnings, no appeals. One day he'd have hundreds of thousands of followers, the next, gone. Deleted like they never existed.
TikTok, what's going on?
Second, even with the views, the money just wasn't there. TikTok was still too new. Brands weren't shelling out fat checks for sponsored posts yet. So after graduating high school, in that summer limbo before college started, Jason made a decision. If he wanted real money, like retire your parents' money, he had to pivot.
I know that gotta be the most nerve-wracking thing you could possibly do, to try to pitch to your older parents why you should skip college and do content. I know that Black Boy Max, I know Max had to do a whole PowerPoint presentation for his parents, and it worked out. Damn. I kind of regret going to college. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. Let's get back into it.
Twitch. No, growing on Twitch, that's a different beast. It's not like TikTok where one lucky post can shoot you into the algorithmic stratosphere. Twitch is slow, brutal, and unforgiving. And in my opinion, it's probably the hardest platform to build an audience on, which is exactly why Jason had to get strategic. He'd been casually streaming since he was 14. Nothing serious, just testing out
the angle's fire. What's your name again, brother? Golf cart? Oh, he's tapped in. The editing is lit.
Waters, but in August of 2022, he made the call, fully committing his sights on streaming. And in his very first month, he averaged 71 viewers per stream. For Twitch, that's an incredibly promising start. But here's where Jason's strategy kicks in. You see, Jason had an audience on TikTok, 1 million followers to be exact. And he began the slow and steady process of converting those followers from TikTok to Twitch. Over the next month, he would stream Valorant gameplay. But instead of keeping it one-dimensional, he got a bit creative. There was this website called ePal, where you could essentially pay girls to play video games with you. Weird.
The fact that this website exists is diabolical.
Yes, I know. But that was a part of the character, the bit that Jason played. Now my pants! My pants! He brought the same TikTok persona into these streams, awkward and always towing the line between cringe and comedy. He would try to rizz the girls up mid-game, leading to some of the most painfully uncomfortable moments imaginable. But that was the point. Jason wasn't just streaming to entertain live viewers, he was streaming for clips. After each stream, he'd post dozens of these videos to TikTok, and the views continued to snowball. Then
notice if you're too cool as a content creator or just on the internet period, you don't get as far. Like, those are unafraid to be themselves, or like he's elaborating that Jason was playing a character, to fully immerse themselves in that character and risk being cringe, has a bigger payoff than a lot would anticipate. Like, I'm just thinking, is it the worst thing in the world to be called corny or cringe if it has this type of payoff and this type of return on your investment? I'm thinking differently right now.
And the next time he'd start up a stream, he'd also go live on TikTok for the first hour or so. Then end the TikTok live and tell his followers if they wanted to keep watching to come over to Twitch. The brilliance of this two-step approach paid off, because by October of that same year, he was averaging over 1,000 viewers per stream and had nearly 25,000 followers on Twitch. From there, Jason only hit the gas. He began collaborating with bigger streamers like Prod, Sneeko, and Shanks. He began evolving his content to audiences broader than Valorant. He started hosting e-dates and added in IRL segments. But as 2022 came to an end and 2023 wrapped the corner, an entirely new shift to Jason's online presence came into the picture.
Every time I talk to you, my mind goes blank because you're just so beautiful, and
Eugene. I'm a little tapped in, a little bit.
I'm just like, I can't really think straight, you know what I mean?
Jason first met Eugen during what should have been just another e-dating stream. Something about her was different. The flirting and chemistry came naturally, and before long, their on-screen chemistry carried over into real life. They began dating, and for Jason, this was his first genuine relationship, and soon his audience was just invested in them as they were in him. These days, broadcasting your relationship online is almost like a growth hack, another way to hook viewers. But for Jason, it didn't work that way, because over the next year, his viewership actually became stagnant, hardly growing over the course of a year. So why am I mentioning this? Well, because in those moments with Eugen, at times the mask began to slip. Maybe he was just comfortable in the relationship, or was finally starting to feel comfortable in front of a camera. But viewers were beginning to see the more genuine side of Jason, especially during the breakup. Over time, having their relationship play out in front of thousands started to weigh on them. Jason's content still revolved around flirting with e-girls, and for Eugen, that was hard to ignore. Eventually, both decided to step away from the relationship, marking the end of a chapter that quietly reshaped how Jason came across to his audience. It's funny how life works, how sometimes what feels like a new low can be the exact moment you're on the brink of something higher. Over the next few months, Jason took every successful element from his streams and dialed it up to the max. He brought his Discord e-dates into the real world, traveling.
I think this is how I found Jason, is through, I think Max got invited on his e-dates. So I know that when Aiden stepped away from Twitch, or when he got banned and he stopped really doing e-dates for a while, I feel like JasonTheWeen really, like, there was a gap to where a lot of people, there was probably still people doing e-dates, but I kept seeing his across my timeline, and I was like, he a cool dude. So this is how I found him.
From state to state to host in-person dates with different girls. Sa, Selena, and Alyssa all became recurring personalities, and fans were quick to dub this era of content the Bop Arc. During this period,
the Bop Arc is what y'all was calling it? These young ladies have families.
Jason's channel exploded in popularity. Just a month after his breakup, his average viewership nearly doubled, soaring from 2,700 to 5,300 viewers in what felt like a blink of an eye. And the growth didn't stop there. Stream after stream, the numbers kept climbing. While attending college full-time, he was streaming an average of 160 hours a month, pushing his momentum farther than ever before.
You may be okay. What's your name again? Golf cart. You may be okay with playing Uzavert in the background and him taking your money off the copyright claim. This month come right out the video. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, if you making that type of money where you don't care about getting your copyright claim because of some background music, I do, brother. I'm broke, impoverished, even disgusted. Just, you know what I mean? Can you spare me some money and some coochie? You know what I mean? That's me. You know, if it wasn't for this camera, no, I'm just playing. Okay, let me chill.
But just beyond that wave of success was something even bigger. An opportunity that would take everything Jason had built and launch it into another universe. He was going to join FaZe Clan.
Do you have to manhandle me, bro? Holy man, what do I even do?
I don't think I've ever seen JasonTheWeen's recruit video for FaZe. I saw Silky's, Max's. I even think I saw Lacey's. I did see Rage's, but I never seen Jason's.
Spitballs, pranks, disruptive outbursts. Mogging? Normally, under these circumstances, you would be expelled immediately. But your father has given a very generous donation to the university.
My father?
Now, a little backstory.
FaZe Banks.
For those who don't know, FaZe Clan can be credited with pioneering a lot of what you see on social media today. What started as a small group of gamers making YouTube trickshot videos turned into something entirely new. Eventually, the group bought a house in New York and all moved in together, arguably creating the first content house the internet had ever seen. From there, things snowballed. By 2018, FaZe had stepped far beyond gaming. Their roster, icons like FaZe Banks, Temper, Rug, Adapt, Rain, and Apex were everywhere. They landed huge brand deals, made the cover of Sports Illustrated, and even IPO'd at $1 billion valuation. But then the empire cracked. Now, we've got a video up on our channel that breaks down exactly how and why everything fell apart, but here's the short version. The founders had their equity diluted, corporate overvalued the company, put the wrong focus in the wrong places, the content went stale, fans stopped caring, and eventually FaZe went bankrupt. The founders managed to buy the brand back, and in early 2024, they set out to spark a full-scale revival. Step 1, wipe the slate clean. Almost every
they old audience like, do any of these motherfuckers know how to trick shot any of that? And they was like, nah, we just get on camera and talk shit. And it was like, it's gonna fail. And then look at them now and everything. You know, you just gotta give it some time, you know.
Every single talent was dropped and a fresh roster was announced. For OG fans who'd been watching for years, the bar for the new faces of FaZe wasn't just high, it was astronomical. One by one, names were revealed, some familiar veterans and some complete newcomers. And on that short list, nestled among a handful of new recruits, was JasonTheWeen. Truth be told, no one believed in the new group. For most fans, this felt like just another lazy, corporate-driven sellout. Exactly the kind of hollow move that had sunk FaZe in the first place.
What the f is that sorry ass
These sad ass niggas is what he's trying to say.
new FaZe Clan lineup, man? Who the f are these people?
Sad ass niggas is what he's saying.
However, almost everyone was completely wrong about the new roster.
And I was the opposite. I knew nothing about FaZe. In fact, the only thing I knew about FaZe was due like Logic the Rapper's affiliation. If you're like old enough, if you're old head like me, and you remember like Logic's come up. I mean, you're not that young. You weren't like a toddler. I'm sure you probably understand when Logic was coming up in 2011 or 2012. That's the only thing I knew about FaZe Clan. I actually knew a majority of the new recruits. I knew Silky through his affiliation with Kai. I knew Max, just finding Max. Actually, I found Max through Agent. I knew JasonTheWeen through Max. And everybody know Rage. I've known Rage for the longest out of all of them. So I was actually the opposite. I was like, I don't see why this wouldn't work. They're all fire. I guess y'all, whoever's watching this and they're FaZe fans, they were like, that shit is never going to work. I didn't think that. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. They all funny. Put them together. Fuck it.
Within weeks, public opinion began to flip. Clips of new FaZe started flooding TikTok, from trips to Tokyo to month-long subathons, and a steady stream of content both as a group and as individual creators. The momentum was undeniable.
The momentum, and they look like they have a lot of fun. I'm like, damn, that look like hella fun. They just look like they have fun all day. I mean, of course, things are on camera and you're human, you have moments up and down in life, but they genuinely look like they have a lot of fun.
Jason, in particular, was breaking into a whole new tier of mainstream success. In the closing hours of the month-long subathon, he hit 100,000 active Twitch subscribers.
ETA in the background.
Overtaking streaming heavyweights like Kai Cenat and Jinxie, making him the #2 most subscribed to Twitch streamer in the world. And Jason went on to close out the year strong. His average viewership would climb to over 15,000 viewers per stream, a 474% increase from the start of the year. He closed in on 1 million followers on Twitch and even won the 2024 Breakout Streamer of the Year award.
6 months ago, I finally dropped out of school to pursue streaming, and today I can say it was finally worth it. Breakout Streamer of the Year! Ah!
Up to this point, a lot of Jason's success had been built around the persona I've been talking about. The guy who will pull the most over-the-top stunts to rizz up girls, purely to send his chat into chaos. But there's a risk in leaning too heavily on one gimmick to keep people entertained. Take Fred, for example. At first, the high-pitched squeaky voice and hyper-edited ADHD-style videos were hilarious. People couldn't get enough, and it shot him into the spotlight. But over time, the bits started to feel repetitive, predictable, and eventually his audience moved on. At some point, Jason realized this, and decided to make a few changes.
But yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but the girl content has been slowing down.
Bullshit. I never bought into that. Maybe you watching this, and as a JasonTheWeen fan, you bought into it like, oh yeah, no. I was like, bro, like, Jason is synonymous with girl content. Like, girl content would never be out the picture. I guess flirting, but I identify it as all, like, you're going to have no shorties on your stream. It's not going to happen, bro.
Wait, why is the girl content slowing down?
Because, I've realized.
Jason, girl content? Not happening? I'm not subbing anymore.
Wait, so you're quitting girl content? I'm not quitting, I'm just slowing down. I just feel like, it's time to evolve.
Heading into 2025, Jason started taking off the mask. Instead of chasing whatever performance would go viral or playing solely to what the
They're back and forth. JasonTheWeen and Adapt's back and forth. When Adapt locked Jason in that muff was hilarious.
That demanded, he began building streams around what he genuinely wanted to do.
It was cool too. The mechanical bull and shit, like, they was cooking. A lot of these streams I remember.
The exaggerated persona took a backseat, and his natural self started to come through on stream.
Who's your favorite Asian YouTuber? Just say it, bro.
Here he gonna say.
Higa. No, I didn't say it. That's his name. That's his name.
With the mask coming off, his content stopped being confined to 4 walls, and the world itself became the stage.
Throwing that shit. Hold on. I gotta see.
Started to come through on stream.
Who's your favorite Asian YouTuber? Just say it, bro.
I gotta scan the badges. This is just for research purposes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Higa.
Doing a little research report here. Hold on. Give me a second.
No, I didn't say it. That's his name. That's his name.
With the mask coming off, his content stopped being confined to 4 walls, and the world itself.
I got a pencil over here. I just want to take some notes. Yeah, this is for research purposes. Y'all know her name? What's her name? We ain't got no name. Yeah, let me know in the comment box. I can't even do what I can't even do the full research report because I don't know her intel. I don't know her info. Yeah, let me know in the comment box down below if you know her info. Jesus.
Itself became the stage. In South Korea, he met New Jeans, one of the biggest K-pop girl groups on the planet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this is crazy.
From there, he took his journey to England, where things truly snowballed. Within days of landing, Jason was filming with some of the UK's biggest creators, Angry Ginge, Deji, and George Clarkey, before stepping in front of a camera for a Sidemen 20v1 video.
Wingardium Pregnoto! You feel that?
Wingardium Pregnoto is crazy.
For any creator, being featured in a Sidemen video is a huge milestone, but the momentum didn't stop there. Just before the shoot, news had broken that he'd joined the cast of Inside, a Netflix reality series created by the Sidemen themselves. And then came the moment that would put him in front of one of the largest audiences of his career, the Sidemen charity match. All 90,000 seats at Wembley sold out. Over 2.7 million tuned in live. The roster included titans like Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, IShowSpeed, and Kai Cenat. And for the first time, Jason wasn't the weird kid trying to make a name for himself on social media. He was one of them. He was now a part of the club he once watched from the outside. He had the numbers, the clout, the collaborations, Wembley Stadium crowds, Netflix credits, his name alongside the biggest creators on the planet. But none of that was the finish line. Because long before the Twitch records, FaZe Clan, and charity matches, this all started in a small Texas suburb, with a quiet kid who promised himself one thing: retire mom and dad.
And he did that, or he's trying to. I know he's. I think he did that though. I know he bought them cars and all that, but I think if he didn't buy them a house, I feel like he did. Well, I'm about to find out. Little things I'm unsure of. He's doing such a good job. I'm gonna find out. You know what I mean?
My dad sacrificed a lot. My mom sacrificed a lot. Cause I think my dad was always telling me that if he stayed in Vietnam, he could have been like super rich because he had like businesses out there. But he moved there because, you know, he wanted to start a family with my mom and with me. So he kind of put everything onto me. And sometimes I would feel like I need to be successful due to, you know, all my parents' sacrifices.
You see, success and sacrifices are like two faces on the same coin, inseparable, each defined.
You can't get to success without sacrifice. Can't. It can't. And oftentimes, what they tell you right now, if you're young, you're young watching me. There is no work-life balance while you're young. Run it up now. Run it up now. Run it up. I mean, I guess you can have fun here and there, but you can do both at the same time. I would think. But like right now, our focus as somewhat a relatively young person and a very young person, I assume, that's watching me, if you're a JasonTheWeen fan, run it the fuck up. Get your bag.
The other. One side shapes you into someone capable of winning, while the other validates every hard choice you've made to get there. Think of just about any successful person. Not the rare one-hit wonder, but the ones who've truly built something lasting. All of them have paid a steep price, a big chunk of their life traded away in exchange for a shot at the position they're in today.
You hear the big C word and you think really the worst.
There's so many things that go on.
I ain't really trying to hear about no C word, man. I ain't trying to hear about that. That shit give me the heebie-jeebies.
Sacrifice has worn many faces over the years, and since middle school, it's often come in the form of relationships.
Honestly, in middle school, they used to call me Chino because I was surrounded by a lot of Mexicans.
Okay.
So it's not a lot of Asians in my school, so I'd have to, you know, I guess adapt or learn new cultures. So that was also a struggle. Like sometimes I would be scared to speak Vietnamese on the phone because some kids, I knew they would make fun of me, things like that. But in middle school, I'd be like self-conscious.
Yeah.
Like, and I'd sometimes want to be like, I guess not want to be a different race, but like dress. I'd dress a certain way. I'd do my hair a certain way. Things like that.
And you,
Whenever Jason get vulnerable, I mean, I believe this part, but I never can tell what is content and what is real life with Jason. I really can't. Maybe you can differentiate better than I can, but it's hard for me sometimes. I'd be like, this is content, and then other times I'd be like, I don't know.
you mentioned that your dad had like left behind a lot of stuff to come here. Were you born there or born here?
Born here.
And you mentioned that like there was some amount of like pressure that you were feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the sense of you of like the clock is kind of ticking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also getting the sense that you're.
That neck was. I'm sorry. I know he's getting into some vulnerable shit, but that neck, Jason. Like what was?
That like there was some amount of like pressure that you were feeling.
Skip it.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the sense of you of like you mentioned
that neck, boy. It looked like you used to take peanut butter baths. No water, you just bathing in the peanut butter. Like I just don't understand. Like what was kudos. Like, no, man, you kind of built now. You know what I mean? Pause. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? But that neck, gang. You got a Ginyu Force neck on you. Pause. Hey, pause.
You were born here.
Born here.
And you mentioned that, like, there was some amount of, like, pressure that you were feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the sense of you of, like, the clock is kind of ticking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also getting the sense that your parents, like, sacrificed and you're, like, an only child. So it's kind of like, you know, you get one shot, right? And so kind of like it has to count. Like, everything's on your shoulders.
Yeah.
So when you tell your parents, like, let's say, like, I'm going to pretend to be you for a second, okay? Let's do a little bit of role play.
Granted, all that pressure, I'm sure I would hope his parents would say, it's unfair to you to think that you need to bear all this pressure on you. You don't have to. Like, we lived our lives, you live yours. I hope that's the conversation. But households, everybody, I'm not telling anybody how to parent their kids or what their perspective they should be. But I know that I would hope for my parents to be like, you don't need to save us, because what if it could lead to really harmful mental health repercussions? Like, what if being the successful content creator that JasonTheWeen is, it's a finite chance. It's actually less than 1% to make the money he makes as a content creator. Not to say that's completely impossible. I think through consistency and determination, you could get there too. But it's just like, who's willing to take those sacrifices to really honestly choose work every time over the relationships, over school, over work, to be work focused. Not everybody is operated like that, nor should they be. Let's say that he wasn't and was just feeling that constant pressure, but the results weren't clicking. They weren't apparent that JasonTheWeen was on his way up. How would he feel then with that pressure? Because I feel like that pressure would build up and it would have some harmful consequences. I don't know.
You okay with that? Hey, mom, dad, like, I'm concerned that y'all are getting a little bit older and I'd love to spend more time with y'all before, you know, it kind of gets too late. Like, I know that y'all made a lot of sacrifices for me and I'm grateful for that. I feel like grateful and indebted to you, and you guys have done so much for me, and like, I want to give that back, and I'm afraid that I'm running out of time to be able to give that back. So I feel like this immense pressure to be like really successful, like today, because I don't have a whole lot of time to tell you how grateful I am.
Yeah, I'm saying
it's hard to be that vulnerable too. But Dr. K is giving him the tools to be able to open that conversation up. It's a good conversation. It's a good conversation. And I know that he said, I remember watching this, and I know Dr. K said this is not a therapy session. You know, because he's a licensed practitioner, and obviously this would go a different way, and he probably wouldn't even conduct this type of session online for thousands of people to see and even millions to see on a VOD. But for something to not be therapy, he really did a really good job of reading Jason and actually giving him some good advice and giving him some great tools to be able to kind of find a way to alleviate that pressure.
To be my dad?
Yeah, what's it like to hear that, first of all?
I feel really emotional. Feel like, damn, I should tell him that. I want him to know that this is why I'm doing this.
Since blowing up over the past couple of years, he kept that promise in motion. He's bought his parents new cars, surprised them with $10,000, and is now on the path to fully retiring them. For Jason, making content is about giving back to the people who've been in his corner since the start, not personal success or to stroke his own ego. Last year, he became Twitch's #1 most subscribed Asian creator, but instead of keeping the spotlight all to himself, he used his platform to highlight other Asian creators and musicians.
Ever since JasonTheWeen has taken his next level, he's putting
They got B-Souls in his mouth. I fuck with B-Souls, I do.
a lot of Asian people on for real.
In doing so, he's become more than just a streamer. He's become someone Asian kids growing up in America can look up to. Someone who proved you can be yourself and still win. And he's done it without bending to the old pressure to fit in. The very things he once tried to hide are now the things he stands out for. Jason's only 21, but his story's already proof enough.
Damn, he's done so much, and he's still so young, bro. That's lit. That's fire. That's fire.
In the end, every sacrifice, every late night, every hard choice was worth it.
Fire ass content creator and golf cart. Let me see. I don't want to get your name wrong. I'm gonna put the original link in the description box. fire ass content creator, and golf cart fire ass content creator JasonTheWeen. I will continue to watch JasonTheWeen because, you know what I mean, I watch him in between editing, and I like watching these good content creators. And I think that while we shouldn't look to content creators and streamers as role models, I think that if I had kids, I would be like, and they wanted to be content creators, I'd be like, all right, cool. I really don't want you to be, because it's a volatile industry. As a matter of fact, I would encourage it, because I think the creator economy that we're all in right now, that you're seeing me right now, is expecting to really continue to trend upwards in revenue. So there's plenty of time to start if you haven't started, plenty of time to go get your bag, plenty of time to, you know, start building wealth for you and your family. And I think that there's no cap, there's no limit on creating content. I think that you get unlimited amount of opportunities to be successful with this. A couple video, even if 100 videos flop, you can try 100 more, and you can do it relatively at a low cost and a low overhead. You can just shoot it on your phone, buy a little $300 mic if you're in school, if you can't afford it, buy a $75 mic, and record it on, or you can record it on your phone mic too. You know, everybody got a phone. So because JasonTheWeen is 21, the earlier you start, the sooner you start, the more grateful and more proud of yourself you'll be for taking that step towards improving your life and really, you know, putting together a stream of income to make this livable. Because if you're trying to date, if you're trying to start a family, trying to buy a house, in this economy with these stagnant wages, you need multiple streams of income. So that's the one thing I would look at JasonTheWeen as. If, you know, my little brother, my little homies, or whatever, my son was trying to do content, I'd be like, look at JasonTheWeen, he's young and he's doing it the right way. But anyways, if you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you. JasonTheWeen, it's fire. And yeah, and I'm Steelo, by the way. If you want to stick around, I got other videos on the channel. And you recommend some videos that you want me to check out on my downtime, and I get to when I get to it. Hope you're feeling well, feeling safe, you know, live life, and make sure you go out there and live life. Yeah, live life, but live life to your fullest potential. You know what I mean? Not every day has to be spent working, but at least try to make a stride towards improving yourself in some way. It doesn't have to be always money focused, but yeah, Steve Levino's always, I would say, sweet.